Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another Wi-Fi production. Now, recently on stream, me and my viewers have been talking about other games to play outside of DBD, given the fact that this event has definitely been by far the most miserable thing in all of Dead by Daylight's history, and the current game's balance is genuinely terrible, but that's not what this video is about. You see, one of my viewers, if not multiple, recommended me this game called Carnival Hunt, and it was recently undergoing a playtest on Steam. So I figured, what the heck, I got nothing to lose, I'll check it out. And I gotta say, Carnival Hunt has a lot going for it, but also a lot going against it. And that's what today's video is going to be about. You see, we'll start with the positives. The positives of this game is it's definitely different. Different enough to stand out, but maybe a little too different. It's kind of a double-edged sword. And it's a ASYM, obviously. That's why I played it, right? But as of right now, it's a 1 versus 5. And I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that, and we'll get into why that may be a bad thing here soon. But the game has a very unique art style. It's almost like if Tim Burton made Dead by Daylight, right? So that is actually one thing I really like about the game. It's definitely not as gory or violent as Dead by Daylight or, let's say, the Outlast Trials, right? So if someone wants to play an ASYM, but they have like an aversion to extreme gore or violence, this would definitely be a good game for them. But to be completely honest, that's kind of where the positives end. I do think the game's musical score is pretty good, but this game, in my short time playing it, I managed to play it for 2.5 hours, and that's really because one of the biggest problems I have with this game, it's because of the fact that the matches in this game are 30 minutes long. Yes, you heard me right. 30-minute long matches. And the way this game works is it's a vertical ASYM, meaning you start on one floor and you have to go up to the fourth one to escape as a bunny, aka survivor, right? And you, the killer, aka the magician, it's your goal to prevent these bunnies from escaping and ultimately end them, right? That's how the majority of ASYMs work. But you see, the problem is, this game has a same problem that Dead by Daylight has. It punishes the killer, aka the magician, far too harshly for simply doing their job. Now, keep in mind, this is a vertical ASYM, and there are 5 bunnies, right? But there's only you, the one power roll to stop them. So you can probably imagine this is going to be a hellacious experience if you're going against a fully coordinated squad. But wait, what if I were to tell you that this game had base kit comms already? So you don't even necessarily need to go against a 4-man in a Discord call to get the full 4-man Discord call experience. And when I played this game, I played, I think, 3 or 4 real PvP matches as the magician. I tried to get some bunny footage, but as with most ASYMs, the bunny role, aka the survivor role, has the most players, and wait times are insanely long. So, yeah, that really sums it up. But I did play the tutorial for the bunny, and from what I experienced in my time playing this game, let's just begin with the maps. The maps are far too big. They just are. I mean, it would be different if the magician, aka the power roll, could have increased regen speeds for their abilities, right? Because you got to remember, you're only one going through 4 floors looking for 5 bunnies, right? And you have a teleport ability, which sounds decent, right? You can teleport between floors, until you realize it takes almost 3 minutes to recharge. And the matches are 30 minutes long. So the majority of the time, you're going to be just walking around looking for booths to teleport between. That's what you teleport to booths, right? And all while you're doing that, the bunnies are just going around getting their objectives done. So much of this game just feels like fat, right? When you make any kind of meat, there's always going to be some fat on there, and it just feels like this game really needs to have some trimming done with it, right? If the magician's cooldowns were reduced by like maybe 20 to 30%, maybe even a little higher than that, it would feel so much better to play as them. And I'm not sure if the developers are going to insist on keeping the 5v1 ratio, but sometimes it just felt like going after 5 different bunnies was way too much, especially given the fact that most of your abilities are going to be on cooldown around 75 to 80% of the time, if you're using them properly, right? And the bunnies, they have way too many base hit second chances. Every single bunny has, similar to Dead by Daylight's perk, Decisive Strike, they have this Decisive Strike ability if you manage to pick them up and throw them, which damages them. And if you go to pick them up again, they have base hit Decisive Strike, right? So they can get out instantly, which wouldn't be that big of a problem if it couldn't be abused, right? So you pick up a bunny, you put a card on them, which can have some kind of status effect, which negatively impacts their gameplay, right? It hinders them in some way. And then you throw the bunny just runs right back to you, so you grab them again, and then they just stun you and get to walk away scot-free, like nothing even happened, right? That's fine. But similar to DBD, what can happen is these bunnies will band together. They will have things like fireworks, which is basically Dead by Daylight equivalent to a flashlight, right? And they will just simply wait for a teammate to be grabbed, and they'll shoot a firework at you, and then they're off scot-free, right? And arguably, I would say it's worse, objectively, than flashlights and DBD, because in this game, all you have to do is aim it and press left click. That's it. You don't have to actually... You don't have to hit a specific part of the magician's body. It can just be anything. If you hit their head, their leg, their chest, whatever, it'll stun them and they'll drop the bunny, right? In my time playing this, I realized right off the bat that while I wouldn't say the game is bunny-sided, it definitely feels like the game was developed from a bunny player's perspective over everyone's perspective, right? It's the exact same problem with Dead by Daylight. Survivors first, killers later, right? And it's because of this that I don't really know if this game is going to go anywhere. It definitely has the potential. It's unique, it stands out, it has its own theme. Just... This is technically the, I want to say, the alpha release, so things are still subject to change, but given the fact that by the time you're seeing this video, the game's going to be out within 10 days, I don't know if the game's going to even be worth getting at that point. And I'm not saying you shouldn't get it. If you're interested in it, go for it. But this video was made as kind of just a quick little heads up that, you know, if you're looking for something outside of Dead by Daylight, you may want to wait for the Halloween game, or maybe play the Outlast Trials, right? Carnival Hunt isn't inherently a bad game. It's just currently suffering from bad balancing, right? And with due time, I'm sure this game could be very, very fun, and especially a good ASYM entrance, right? So, you know, if you got like some younger kids, maybe like 15, 14, 16, and they want to play like more violent games, but you don't want to necessarily introduce them into like Dead by Daylight or Outlast Trials right off the bat, this would definitely be the game for that. Maybe similar to something like Identity V, right? It's not exactly something for me. I personally prefer more nitty-gritty, like in-your-face stuff, but everyone has their own preferences, right? So, in the end, do I think this game will be killing Dead by Daylight? Unfortunately, no. And again, I don't want to see Dead by Daylight dying, right? I want to see the game actually get better. I want to see it actually get its crap together, really, for the lack of a better term. But do I think this game will stand a good enough chance to actually make behavior feel like they're being, you know, in direct competition with? Probably not. This is one of those games that will probably stick around, have a good cult following, but I'm not sure it will actually be anything more than that, right? And another thing you have to think about with games like Carnival Hunt, the theme is so strict, right? There's not really that much room for collaborations. Now, Could they have collaborations? Absolutely. But if you want to have a lot more collaborations, especially in the ASYM genre, you have to have more of a generalized theme similar to Dead by Daylight, right? In the end, if I had to rate the game, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's nothing amazing either. I the more I played it, the more I felt like I was kind of wasting my time. That's probably the biggest complaint I have because, like I said earlier, it feels like there's just too much fat on the bone, right? It feels like so much of my time was kind of just wandering around aimlessly looking for bunnies, you know, maybe setting down an imposter, then waiting like another minute or two for another imposter to come back and place down again, right? So I do think probably the biggest thing that would help this game is cutting off some of that fat. You know, the bunnies, maybe make it a teeny bit harder for them to get second chance items, you know, like fireworks, especially because the bunnies do have a very, very easy time of escaping, especially since they can just play dead amongst all these other broken bunnies, which are meant to represent like past games, right? In the end, let me know what you guys think down below. Am I geeking? Let me know what you think. I I do think this game will be successful enough to recognize, if that makes sense. I don't think it's going to die. I do think it will have a consistent number of players who enjoy it and play it consistently. I just personally can't see myself being one of those players. Again, not because I hate the game, because I despise or anything like that. It's just not my cup of tea, personally. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like and or subscribe. Later this week, we're going to be making more videos about Dead by Daylight, returning to my little series I started and then just kind of took a break from to make this real quick before I forgot. And we'll be talking about exhaustion perks, how they have genuinely made the game miserable combined with other factors. Thank you all for watching. God bless. Take care. Peace.